Last winter I lost my mom. This time of year reminds me of all the times I spent walking in the parks with my mom and with my dog and just catching up if I was busy with school or if she was busy with my brother and all the stuff she had to deal with. It was just a nice time for us to talk and get our minds off of everything that was going on. It was just a nice time for us to spend time together, and the winter brings it back because it's the last couple of months we spent together, and just realizing how special those times were and how much I cherish them. For me, I didn't want to turn somewhere where they would talk to me about where she is or that she's in a better place or anything to do with life after death. I just needed somewhere where it was a safe place for me to sit down and talk about her, and not necessarily about where she is, but about how to deal with what I'm feeling and how to be able to move forward to the next day and keep going, and learning coping strategies for how to get through every day, as well as big milestones in my life that she won't be there for. And as much as people tried to help, the things that they thought were helpful weren't necessarily helpful. So I turned to Lighthouse to find a group of people that could relate to me, and even if we didn't have everything in common, we had a few things in common that could help me get through this hard time. My group at Lighthouse was an awesome group. They really helped me open up to new people and to talk about my situation and talk about things that I could never talk about with my friends and even my family. It just gave me a safe place to sit and talk about my feelings without feeling like they were putting me in a category, or they were making me feel fragile and that they couldn't talk to me about things and they couldn't mention my mom's name. That was my biggest issue at school, was feeling like everyone had forgotten about my mom and that she never existed. But at Lighthouse, the whole point of the group is to talk about the people we've lost and to talk about them and say their name and talk about the things that we liked about them and things we wish were different. And I think that's a huge part in dealing with your grief and being able to sort of find your new normal and move on from everything that's happened, is to still keep them in your everyday life and still talk about them. And that's the biggest thing I got from Lighthouse, was being able to talk about my mom and not feeling like I couldn't bring it up around people, or people didn't understand or didn't want to talk about her anymore. Whereas counseling didn't really give me that. I felt like I had to answer the questions that the counselor gave me and talk about the topics that she gave me to discuss, and I just felt like they were trying to fix me and trying to get me to a point where I didn't necessarily know if that's where I wanted to be. And Lighthouse, they're not trying to fix you, they're not trying to make the grief go away, because that won't ever happen. They're just giving you strategies for dealing with everyday situations and a new perspective for your life now that the person you love is gone, and dealing with just new perspectives on how to get through your days. Some things that I might think work for me won't work for other people, and things that they have to offer ended up working for me. Things that I had never thought of and ways to deal with it that I had never thought of ended up working really well for me. And although our situations weren't totally the same, they were still able to offer me new ways of looking at situations and a different outlook on everything I was going through, and realizing that there is a better tomorrow, and people that have been there way longer than me, realizing what my end goal was for being in Lighthouse and what I had to look forward to and how strong I could end up becoming, participating in all the groups that they offered me.